There were six famous venture capitalists who almost behaved like lenders in disguise of venture capitalists with a low risk appetite, but for a right reason. There were maybe 1 or 2 dozen angel investors. Even that time, if you would have met me, I would have told you same thing which I'm speaking today, that why now is a great time to start your own business or your own startup. People who knew me, my family and friends, they always would tell me that, Sandeep, ever since we have known you, you are full of energy, very passionate. You always want to do something your own, but we don't think you will end up doing it because your biggest hurdle is you are very good in your current profession. So you don't need enemies not to do this. Your success of your current career is your biggest enemy. And that is a reason, for so many years, people almost discounted that I will not do this. But as I mentioned to you, I reached to a stage where I knew this is my calling card. I will never I would never like to be in a situation where I look back and say, I wish I had not done it. And let me allow me to share with you, where is India in some of the numbers which I saw 10 years back, and I still came with a one-way ticket, started ShopClues. So right now, India does not have 80 million internet users. It's actually 800 million. India does not have 2 million online shoppers. Pre-COVID, that number was 60 to 70 million, and it's maybe 250 million now, right? There are not 5 or 6 venture capitalist firms who invest and with limited risk appetite. There are probably 200 venture capital firms. There are no longer 2 dozen angel investors who have clearly done very well, believing in India very early, but there are probably at least 50,000 to 100,000 angel investors who have invested in at least more than one company. Also, the combined value, here it comes, the combined value from the internet sector is no longer 3 billion. It is probably around 225 billion, maybe even 250 billion. So this is what India has done in last 10 years. And nowhere in the history you can find any industry in India which has created more than 500 million new users, more than, let's say, even 100 billion in new wealth, right? So this is here to stay, right? This is here to stay, and longer you wait, longer you regret, right? Today, I'm very, very pleased that, I was able to create 4th ever unicorn in India with ShopClues. And for that time, the fastest. 4 years was the fastest. And till date also, by the way, we spent least amount of capital to reach $1 billion. And if you have been following us, recently we made an announcement about Droom raising its pre-IPO round at a 1.2 billion pre-money valuation. It's an ongoing round, which we hope to close sometime later this year. So, while, that time, a lot of my friends, family thought that, Sandeep, you're jumping out of the building without a parachute, with a hope that you will fall in a swimming pool. Why would you give up your life in Silicon Valley? You're a Wall Street analyst. You are chatting with Mark Zuckerberg to Steve Jobs to Bill Gates, you name it. And you are making so much money. We see you on TV all the time. And what is this? A tiny e-commerce company, and you were not even an entrepreneur. You are a Wall Street analyst. And I absolutely don't regret. My life had its own share of topsy-turvy ride, ups and downs, but I'm able to create 2 large companies, and long way to go. I still feel, even after 10 years, more so in Droom, that what we have done is just a scratch on the surface. Why I'm sharing all this is to essentially make it a point that India is going through the industrial revolution in the new age industries. India is going through the renaissance where, and never ever in the history before, there was a democratization of entrepreneurship. And there was never ever in the history of India, you had an opportunity, equal opportunity to make an impact where you can create a social transformation, end up creating wealth, and make an impact larger than life. So all that is an opportunity available. And one example I like to give, in 1850, there was a gold rush in California. A place called Sacramento and Placerville was an epicenter where a very high amount of gold was found. You know, there was one thing common among everyone who found that gold. They were at Sacramento and Placerville. They were not in Boston. They were not in New York. They were not in London. They were not in New Delhi. They were not in Shanghai. They were not in Tokyo. They were in Placerville in Sacramento. And second, 150,000 people across globe moved to California, Sacramento and Placerville, and 7% of them found gold, which is 10,500. But I don't think any of those regretted that why did they relocate or left their home and everything behind to participate in the gold rush. Same way, gold rush is happening in India. 27th August 2011, I came back to India with a one-way ticket to start ShopClues. And in terms of wealth, the entire internet sector or new age companies were 3 billion. It's already 225 to maybe 250 billion. So why this one is less than any gold rush? And I hope each one of you participate in this. And let me say this way, the participation in this is not only to start a company, but also be part of this. You know, if you're a senior professional and you are looking for a CXO level openings, always want it to be in a flat, non-hierarchical startup type of culture. There are so many opportunities now. If you are graduating or about to graduate from higher studies or your basic studies, there are so many opportunities. You can start a company, join an early stage company, right? For a mid-level professional, there are thousands of type of job and profession which did not exist until 2010. So there are so many ways you can participate. You can, of course, deploy your capital. You can raise capital. You can team up with others. So, but you know, entrepreneurship way of doing things, high energy and passion, merit-based culture, flat organization, all those are the things which are helping Indians, young Indians, to unleash their true potential. So I hope all of you participate in this. And I would just quickly share one or two more things. Number one, I feel that India would be between 5 to 700 billion in new wealth by 2025. And India could be a trillion to a 1.2 trillion in 2030 with the new wealth. Whatever you saw me comparing and contrasting 2010 until now, this is substantially changed. 3 billion to 250 billion is 80 times. 5 VCs becoming 200 is 40 times, right? 2 to 3 dozen angel investors becoming actually maybe 50,000, even 100,000 is maybe, I don't know, I can't even do the math immediately, is a big increase. But this is still, I would say, in a 9-inning game, this is still probably a second or third inning, definitely not the 6th or 7th. So it's still early stage, and you don't want to have a regret that why did I not take a plunge, right? When I started ShopClues, there was a different set of opportunities which existed. That time I could dare to create a company which could be next Amazon, right, of India, right? The same opportunity ultimately it did get captured by Amazon and Flipkart, right? But I came here to creating the same opportunity. And one by one, you can see so many companies. India has created so many companies which are category leader and have not even scratched the surface. And there are more number of categories and verticals available where there's not even a single viable player. So opportunities are immense. And last thing I would say on this is it's the first time in Indian history these opportunities are available with people who come from a typical middle class family background rather than were born in a silver spoon in mouth. No special last name, no special connection or network, just undying desire, determination, drive, courage, and perseverance. So, and that is pretty much most of us. So I hope you take up lunch. And then, just last thing, one more thing I would say, if you would have spoken about me anytime, right, I would have said actually same thing, that now is the best time to start your own startup or become an entrepreneur. But allow me to share a couple of more things. We all are familiar with Zomato going IPO. Against so many industry pundits and analyst prediction, the company had a fabulous response to pre-IPO and listing post-IPO. There are at least 6 to 7 more new age companies coming public. It is not uncommon for a company, even at a series A or B, raise tens of million, even sometime in hundreds of million. There are so many more investors have coming to India who did not invest before COVID. Investors who used to invest before COVID have become so much more active. India now offers exit in terms of M&A, in terms of IPO, in terms of large appetite by shareholders, where direct investment in company alone will not give the ownership they are looking for, so they may buy other investors or even employees ESOP. We have also seen a lot of companies ESOP pool becoming very substantial. So all this is real. And right now, 2 more things I will say. Right now, for early stage companies, there's more money than the ideas. There's a plenty of money available. Even if there's more money available than ideas, but keep in mind, the money is still distributed based on a tight discipline and nobody compromise on their investment theory and their playbook. So don't feel overconfident, but yes, market is red hot, right? So that is one thing. And second is, after COVID, it was a very, very tangible, very, very persuasive reminder that new age companies add significant value. With starting from Janta curfew in March 2020 to multiple lockdowns, full lockdown, curfew type of situation to somewhat lockdown, we have seen the value of new age companies, right? EduTech was clear beneficiary. Almost everyone took their education from home. E-commerce, big beneficiary. Health tech, big beneficiary. I can go, there are so many categories which have proven their worth in a much more persuasive manner after COVID. And the similar thing, if you look at on NASDAQ or in NYSE, in terms of technology stocks and their corporate earning, anyone who had exposure to the new age style companies have done remarkably well in terms of their corporate performance. So something which was considered as a dot-com bubble in 99 and 2000, and there were many other times when we suspected new age companies that is it too bubblish, too frothy, but all those are part of small cycles. There's never a bubble which is going to burst. There could be correction. I think right now market may be slightly rich or frothy. There may be correction, but the thesis is not going to change. So I hope you guys take up lunch. And then just last thing on my side is the second part, which I mentioned in the beginning, is my family office. I'm very happy to share with you. I started making investments almost a decade back. Have done close to 20 investments, have crossed 25 crore rupees in total capital deployment. On the way, met so many very interesting, full of energy, super smart entrepreneurs. And the idea here is to invest in 10 to 12 companies per year. And in case you have, if you want to explore possibility of me coming as an investor, my family office coming as an investor, you can send an email at sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. And by the way, even for today at question, independent of investment or not, you can post a question on Facebook Live, on Zoom, or hashtag ask Sandeep at Twitter, or you can even email at sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. So with that, I think, I can go on, but maybe we'll just open the floor for the questions. And I would say that I hope you can see the gold rush, and I hope high tide is coming, and I hope you are participating in this in one way or other way, but not just watching it as a spectator, because time and tide wait for none, and this time is not going to come back. And history will tell you fortune always follows the brave. So I hope a lot of you take a plunge and become part of this great revolution which is happening in our country. With that, we'll just take the question. So the first question comes from Anand Boisa from Twitter. And the question is, what all are the risk factors in building a startup? Well, startup is full of risk, right? Number one, you will have to give up your opportunity cost. It's a very lonely choice of career. A lot of startup, independent of how much capital you need, find it difficult to raise capital. Even if you have raised capital, maybe it takes you longer to prove your point and prove your point or prove your proof of concept and run out of money. Anything which can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy law will be applied on you, right? From teaming up with the right people, to getting the capital, to getting enough capital, to building the technology or service. It is full of risk. And honestly, if you are not solving those risks, I don't think you are creating the shareholder wealth. I don't think you can create a value. So startup and risk are hand in hand. And if you're not taking risk, I think it's you are actually you may less likely to experience a quantum jump for which you probably thought of a startup to begin with. So startup and risk are hand in hand, and there's no startup where you have diversified the risk. And if you have fully diversified the risk, the upside is going to be very limited. With that, we'll move to the next question. It comes from Harshita Goyal from Ahmedabad. The question is, most startups die within a few months. What is the mantra to have a sustainable startup? Absolutely, Harshita, that's a great question. Startups have a high mortality, right? There are a lot of empirical evidences in terms of what number of such startups make it, right? But there are multiple reasons why startups fail. Number one would be not being able to raise the capital. Number two will be not being able to raise the capital. Number three will be not being able to raise the capital. What I'm trying to say is capital is the single biggest reason startup fail. If you have a large pool of capital, the harsh word of startup could be more forgiving and can give you a lot of wiggle room to make mistakes and be experimental. Second is team, right? Maybe sometimes founders have a fight. Maybe you are unable to assemble a great team. Third is a market timing. Fourth is grossly overestimating market opportunity. Fifth is grossly overestimating time to market, competition, regulatory pressure. So all these are the top reasons why a startup can fail. And even if none of these are happening, as they say, it is better to be lucky than smart. So keep in mind, everything is going fine by the book, but still luck may not be in your favor. So startup absolutely has a high mortality rate, and that's what it is. And it's been always like that. Next question comes from Mayank Dixit from Telangana. Before I take the question, just for audience, in case you want to ask question, you can post it on our Zoom page on Facebook. You can, if you have a Zoom access, you can write in a chat box of Zoom, or you can hashtag Ask Sandeep at Twitter, and multiple my team members are volunteering for this event, and they are relaying the question on a big screen which is sitting right in front of me. So with that, I'm moving to the next question from Mayank Dixit from Telangana. Question is, what are the scope of startup in small town in India? Mayank, thank you for asking this question. I think hundreds of million Indians are now thinking about this, right? So let me say this way, and we discussed about high mortality rate, we discussed about risk for failure rates, but here is one benefit. Startup can be geography agnostic. Startup can be team agnostic. Startup can be skill agnostic for quite some time. So if you think about it, there's no longer you need to be in NCR or Bangalore or Mumbai or Hyderabad or Chennai or other large cities to make your startup work. Granted, the larger city will have better infrastructure, accessibility of investors will be better, and as you grow, you will have less hurdles in terms of teaming up with the right people and plenty of supply of the talent. But right now, you don't need to be in a one particular city to make your startup or make your dreams come true. So there's absolutely great scope, and especially if you come from a towns where there is something inherent to that town, you can actually harness that. We have a great heritage. There are so many cities in India which can actually offer something unique. And if your startup idea is to harness that, making a global platform for that idea, in fact, luck will favor you more. But all I wanted to say is startups are no longer limited to the big cities. And that is one of the very attractive part. That is why I was saying that it's a democratization of the entrepreneurship. That was not the case in the past. If you wanted to make your dream come true, you had to be in NCR or Mumbai. Then last 30 years, probably in Bangalore, NCR, Mumbai, and maybe Hyderabad and Chennai. And last few years, maybe in maybe 10 more cities, but that's changing. Next question comes from Gautam Puri from Sonipat, Haryana. And the question is, which sector would you be focusing on for investing in this year? Gautam, thank you for asking that question. I'm a technology person, and I obviously make my living from e-commerce. So any vertically focused e-commerce is something I like. I like marketplace model. I like asset light, no inventory, no reliance on physical infrastructure type of businesses in any category. I going to stay away from edutech or and maybe fintech. A large sum of capital has come in those sectors, and I would probably see them playing out. If I see early stage opportunity in those two sectors, I'll still take a look. And then I absolutely like D2C, especially if it is harnessing technology, not just putting our old wine in a new bottle. And yeah, I think those are the marketplaces of any sort. Vertically focused e-commerce, asset light, people light, working capital light models are the one I like, which is truly harnessing mobile and internet technologies. That's kind of my sweet spot. Next question comes from Pankaj Jasoria through Facebook. Question is, why India does not have any polity startup, even though politics party spent 6,000 crore rupees in 2019 Lok Sabha election and 2,200 crore in 2020 Delhi Vidhan Sabha election. Pankaj, that's a very intriguing question. And, I think your question also has an answer. I think, look, when I started ShopClues, I remember a lot of venture capitalists will ask me that, marketplace, really, will it work? Because that time Flipkart was an inventory model. There was no Amazon. Snapdeal was like Groupon. And obviously there was no other marketplace. And even for a vertically focused non-marketplace, there were only one or two companies like Pepperfry or maybe Urban Touch and one or two more vertically focused company, and that's about it. So I was basically, I had to do a lot of field work in terms of telling people in terms of, how the startup world will open up. But today, what you just highlighted is sounded so niche, nobody will consider. But you have already quantified so beautifully national level 6,000 crore rupees. And if Delhi is worth 200 crore rupees, we can multiply by 2.5 dozen states and union territories. And here you go, you have a very sizable political budget. So, uh, definitely, I think it's an opportunity. If you can have a total addressable opportunity of this size, and if you have a comfort of saying there's not even a single startup, I think here you go. Wish you good luck and love to stay in touch with you. Next question comes from Aditya Raj from Guwahati. Question is, should the startup idea always cater to an aid or real world problem? Yes, absolutely. I mean, startups are, even if you're doing CSR, ESG, or a for-profit company, or making a social impact, some transformation, making a difference in human life. But a startup should also cater to the entire ecosystem, should able to pay its salaries, should able to return the money from investors, should able to fulfill a lot of dreams associated with that. And that can only happen when you are solving real world problem, whether for profit or not for profit, right? So absolutely. And then, three things will never fail. Large addressable opportunity, like Pankaj mentioned in his previous question. You are not too dependent on capital, and the profit margins are decent enough. If you have these three things, I think you have a very high chances of survival. So absolutely look for a real world problem, large addressable opportunity, solve problem with technology rather than capital, and look for a high margin businesses. And it will be rewarding. Next question comes from Abhishek. He is asking this question via Twitter. How can I pitch to Sandeep sir to invest in my startup? Is it necessary to have job experience in same field to start a business in the same? So first part, Abhishek, you can send me an email at sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com, and we will respond. Uh, Please note that I get a lot of inbound inquiries. We try to respond to as many. If we are unable to respond, do not dishearten. But there's a limit how much we can respond. I'm an entrepreneur full time, and investing is just my way of giving back to our ecosystem, which has been very rewarding for me. But do send me an email, and now that I know about our this conversation, will absolutely respond back. In the second part, no, you absolutely don't need experience in the same field, right? You don't even need education in the same field. But please note that none of those are prerequisite, but each of different aspect of your background makes you uniquely qualified by you are doing. So still be ready to make a very strong point. Why this idea, why you, and why now, right? So why this idea, why you, and why now? And after that, it does not matter whether you have a work experience or not, whether work experience is in the same field or not, and whether you have education which is commensurate to what you're trying to do or not. Nobody eventually looks things from those lenses. Let's move to the next question. And guys, one more time, in case you want to ask a question, hashtags Ask Sandeep, post it on our Facebook page, or if you have access to Zoom, you can post it in a chat box. Next question comes from Mridul Sharma from Delhi. Profit or establishment, what should be the prime focus area at the initial level of startup? Mridul, absolutely a great question. Probably every one of us go through the soul searching exercise and wonder about this question. So, profit is very, if rarely I have seen a profitable business going belly up, right? But not every business is profitable from day one. So long as you are creating a business which is creating value proposition for stakeholders, incremental revenue is better than the marginal cost, and you are watchful. Even if you're not making money, you're measuring, you are knowing that you have a strong MIS, you are frugal by nature, And wherever you are spending money, you know whether it is working for you or not. Absolutely creating an establishment which can be scalable can eventually make lots of money. So, please make it a point that, you find reason to survive. That does not have to be profit. But if it is profit, then of course, you are no longer dependent on external capital. Maybe you can decide the speed of growth based on your resources and flow back of profit. But still, I would argue 80 to 90% of businesses may not make money for the first 2 to 7, 8 years, maybe even longer, but they can still create significant shareholder wealth, can create loads of career, and you can own a category permanently for next 3 to 5 decades. Next question comes from Akhil Narang Agartala through Zoom. Akhil, thank you for joining us through Zoom. And question is, are you planning to launch, collaborate with blockchain, cryptocurrency to accept as payment method? Akhil, thank you. That's there are a lot of engineers and product managers at Droom where this question is very close to their heart. Absolutely. We also, we are not an automobile company which is using technology. We are essentially a technology company which happens to be an automobile buying and selling. So whether it is AI, ML, IoT, blockchain, cryptocurrency, these are not just the buzzwords for us. We take all of this very seriously. And absolutely, as the ecosystem becomes slightly larger, there is more acceptable way. Cryptocurrency is more acceptable. Rules and regulations are very, very clear. We would love to offer this as another payment option. It's a big ticket item. And, even forget about crypto, buying an automobile online is not for faint of heart. When I started ShopClues, people will not even buy a 200 rupees Chetan Bhagat book online, right? And we are the only, even in our space, there are 7 or 8 new age automobile companies, but they are all automobile companies which are using technology. We are the pure play internet company. We will be more cutting edge, will be more experimental, will be taking larger risks. So great question. And just continue to keep continue to keep an eye on us, and hopefully, at appropriate time, we will launch this as an optional payment method. Moving to next question. It comes from Muskan Singla through Zoom. Question is, I want to ask a question that how you got the idea of Droom. Muskan, I had created ShopClues as a large company. I ran into a personal trouble, which you can search on Google. It's much discussed and analyzed. So that changed my life. I had to step down from ShopClues and had a really the lowest time of my life. As the things started becoming stable or started recovering, I thought, what am I going to do next? I look into 52 different ideas, and I used a lot of screens, very similar to big addressable opportunity, technology solving the problem, margins are higher. So I was a little bit more, I would say, clinical and more methodical about Droom, because I was already a one-time proven entrepreneur who built a large company in India with ShopClues. So that's how I, used a lot of screens, met a lot of friends, validated ideas. 52. Within first 2 weeks, I dropped 44, left with 8. Then next 2 weeks, maybe dropped 6, and then spent next 2 months with Droom and one more idea. And I like Droom. And why I like Droom is because in any country, automobile is 8 to 12% of the GDP. From 19th century, automobile buying and selling experience has not changed, especially for the used automobile. And, as a technology play, I knew that eventually, while we make very little commission for Droom when you buy and sell from Droom, this can be at scale, can make lots of good money. I got a very good kick that wouldn't it be great that the cars are becoming so advanced in terms of electric vehicle, connected vehicle, driverless cars. Why don't I change that? Why don't I build a 21st century automobile buying and selling experience? And 7 years down the line, here we are. Maybe I would say arguably the world's most advanced, technologically most advanced automobile platform. Next question comes from Nikhil Agarwal from Chandigarh. Nikhil, two things common. A, Chandigarh is my hometown where I was born and raised. Second is your last name. We even spell exactly like mine with 2G and AR. So good to meet you. Question is, how do you optimum utilization of funding? Nikhil, look, in the late stage, you have so much of data. You can do regressions, you can do extrapolation, you can have a discipline of budgeting and planning. You can think about your requirement for operating expenses and capital expenditure. I know I'm just sounding like a CFO, but as a former Wall Street analyst, this is what I used to do for a living. So you can be very accurate in terms of how much capital you need, where will you spend, in what pace. But does not matter how much mathematically inclined you are, how gifted you are in terms of business acumen and financial skills. I think you'll have to just use a lot of guesswork, gut, and general, common sense. And in general, try to raise as much capital as you can get, so long as you don't getting a deal which is not too favorable to you. But trust me, first 6 rounds, nobody will regret raising more capital, but everyone will regret raising less amount of capital. So whatever you think you need and you should raise more than that. And if it is available, never say no. Trust me, capital, it remains. While you don't need, in the modern businesses, you no longer need 200-acre lands and German machinery and 20,000 employees, but still upfront you need a lot of capital. I hope that answers your question. Next comes from Varun from Mumbai, and the question is asked through Twitter. It is, how do we make our business reach to long heights? Any advice? Varun, a few things I can share. One, please try to solve business with a long-term horizon. Please also never forget one thing at a time. So bite by bite. First 4 months in ShopClues, we used to sell less than 20 items per day, right? And next 6 months, we reached to maybe 20,000 items per day. And at peak, we probably had, significantly even higher number, right? So it's always like that. It took us 4 months to sell the first ever vehicle on Droom. We started Droom on 21st November 2014, sold a Bajaj Pulsar 2012 model on 7th January. Right? Today we sell close to 10,000 automobile on our platform. So it takes time, right? It takes time. Solve for long term, measure everything, do one thing at a time, fix your processes, deploy more and more things into technology, and always almost be obsessive about processes, user experience, scale, and conservation of capital. And one day you could be the largest in the category. Next questions come from Devendra Tiwari, and he's asking this question through Zoom. Question is, can you suggest business domains and areas where you are actively looking to invest? Devendra, I love to chat with you more. I answered this question previously. Perhaps I'll do a short answer now. Maybe you can see the recorded session or send me an email at sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. But as I mentioned earlier, I like vertically focused e-commerce businesses. I like marketplace of any type, which is asset light, less dependent on working capital, no capital expenditure, and not people heavy. I also like D2C model, especially if there's a tech angle to that. Those are the kind of companies I'm looking. So anything which is new age, internet, asset light, people light, and working capital light, and decent enough addressable opportunities, something I like. Love to hear from you. Sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. Please send me an email. Next question come from Sakshi at Zoom. Question is, are you open to invest in manufacturing startup too? If yes, please share email ID where you can share your pitch deck. Sakshi, I'm sorry, manufacturing is not my domain. If you still want to chat with me, want to have maybe some guidance. If you think I can add value, love to speak with you for a few minutes. I'm sorry for being very upfront and blunt, but I am actually not, I don't understand manufacturing as much. But I wish you good luck, but I'm happy to spare a few minutes. Sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com in case you want to send your proposal. Guys, my team is reminding that there are 15 minutes more left. I'm noticing it's taking roughly a few seconds to read the question, and answer could be 30 seconds to minute and a half. So I'll try to cover as many questions as possible. 3 ways to ask the question. Hashtag Ask Sandeep at Twitter. If you have Zoom access, write in a chat box. And if you are on a Facebook, on a Zoom page of Facebook, it's Facebook Live, mentioned there in the comment, and my team is relaying all the questions to me. Moving to the next question. The question comes from Aman. Looks like he has something, maybe he's a founder at Mom's Cart, and he's asking the question through Zoom. Post-COVID, achieving good numbers on balance sheet is a bit tough. Will investors fund on prototype stage? Aman, absolutely. Thank you for asking this question. Let me infuse a new set of energy and hope and encouragement in all of you. This is the single biggest place where most of the entrepreneurs are wrong. Look, the first stage of the first round of funding is when you say, this is me, this is my idea, and I really want to pursue. I am a student, I have a full-time job, or I'm not doing anything. This is actually first round of funding, only on these things. This is me, this is my idea, and I want to pursue this. Next round of funding could be, this is me, this is my idea, I really want to do. I have 3 more team members. I have an early stage of, here is my presentation, and here is the market size, here my competition. I have started working on a product or service. This is round 2 for an investment. Third could be everything which I already said. Plus, I look at my product, it works. It has a lot of bugs, it's not stable. Look at my service, it works, but not ready for prime time. I have office. I have more people. I have real office. I incorporate the company. I have a brand. I have a logo. This is, guys, round number 3. And let me say why I'm saying this way, because most of us feel we need to have idea, team, laptops, office, company, logo, profits, scale, real customer, real partnerships, real alliances. Guys, that is round 3 or round 4 or round 5. The word is going to be, so please always align the stage of your business with the capital you are raising, or the capital you are raising with the stage of your business. This is single place where we all make mistakes. Don't give your arm and leg when you are at a very early stage. If someone is asking everything from soup to nut before he can write you 50,000 rupees or 5 lakh or 10 lakh rupees, reality is that person is never going to give you money, right? A 3-year-old kid can behave like a 5-year-old kid. He cannot behave like a 10-year-old kid. And a 10-year-old kid can behave like an 8-year-old kid, or a 12 or 15-year-old kid. He can never behave like an adult, right? And after you are adult, maybe you can behave like, like anyone who is adult from 18 until 50, right? So please, it is the same thing for startup. Next question is from Akash Kulkarni at Zoom. Question is, hello Sandeep, as early stage companies often do not have a well-defined product or business model, do you have to evaluate companies before investing? How do you evaluate companies before investing in them? Akash, the early stage companies are evaluated based on the founder's energy, based on the founder's passion, based on the founder's obsession, based on the founder's background, based on the founder and the co-founder's ability to articulate the future of that idea without even having proof of concept. Right? Let me give you an example. Jeff Bezos, among the 2 richest people on earth, went to first time in outer space, not by NASA, through his own investments and company 2 weeks back, maybe actually last week, right? But he's been articulating a possibility of this for the last 20 years. Richard Branson went to outer space 3 weeks back, but he's been articulating that for 2 decades. And while they made it happen now, on the way, they got lots of money and they built multi-billion-dollar businesses out of that, because for their era, they articulate the value of going to outer space and what all it will take for that to become possibility. They articulated that better than, faster than, cheaper than others, hence got lots of money. So absolutely don't line up every duck before you can create a company. Next is Spriha Twitter, and the question is, जैसे हम जानते हैं कि पिछले 2 सालों से महामारी फैली हुई है, क्या ये समय सही है नया बिजनेस शुरू करने के लिए? प्रिया, बिल्कुल ये समय बिल्कुल सही है नया बिजनेस शुरू करने के लिए। इनफैक्ट कभी भी जब भी कोई महामारी आती है या कोई ट्रबल आती है, कोई चीजें चेंज होती है, वो हमेशा डिस्ट्रप्शन लाती है। इनफैक्ट मेरे पास राइट नंबर नहीं है, बट मुझे लगता है मार्च 2020 से लेकर जुलाई तक, जुलाई 2021 में शायद इंडिया में हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ स्टार्टअप चालू हुई है और हाईएस्ट नंबर स्टार्टअप्स को पैसा मिला है, एंड हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ कंपनीज ने आईपीओ अनाउंस किए हैं और हाईएस्ट नंबर कंपनीज बिलियन डॉलर बनी है, इंक्लूडिंग ड्रूम अनाउंसिंग 1.2 बिलियन वैल्यूएशन yesterday. सो बिल्कुल प्रिया, ये अच्छा टाइम है अगर आप मुझसे बातचीत करना चाहते हैं, आपके पास आइडिया शेयर करना चाहते हैं, sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. Guys, I have around 5 minutes left, so we'll try to take as many questions as we can, and my answers will be short. In case you want to reach out, sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. But we have a plenty of pipeline right now for the questions we can handle in the next around 4 minutes and change. And thank you for bringing all these great interactions, so many interesting questions. This is, there are so many things I love about what I do for a living, but interacting with budding entrepreneurs, sharing about startups, helping someone to make a decision in their career, where they'll be working in a large company or small, is absolutely something I'm very, very passionate about. And I hope you're enjoying as much as I am enjoying it answering your question. Next question is K. Siddharth from Zoom. Question is, from an idea to $1.2 billion valuation company, how will you define this journey? Siddharth, thank you. I mean, I think journey is full of acceleration, excitement, nervous, roller coaster, is I would say. And, I think, I can't stop counting my blessings, can't thank all my team members who gave their heart, blood, and sweat, can't thank all the investors who came all the way and believed in us. I mean, when I started Droom, that time India was still, it was 7 years back. People will buy very limited things online. And so, I would say absolutely a very, very surreal journey is what I will say. Let's go to the next question. Comes from Vishal Gupta from Facebook. Question is there any way one can build a startup along with the job, leave job after idea validation? What are the downside to this approach? Are there any examples? Vishal, absolutely. I did moonlight, right? But I did moonlight all my 11 years when I worked in a job, and I would entertain a lot of startup ideas. So that is, yes, it is possible. Example is sitting right in front of you, right? But you also asked, right, the maybe pros and cons. Biggest thing is, you don't get used to it, right? There will never, validation of idea is fine, but Thomas Edison did not get validation for bulb. Wright brothers did not get validation for flying plane, right? I got rejected 31 times by investors for shop clues, right? So validation, whether you are in job or not, is it has a double-edged sword. So just be careful. Don't start getting used to mitigating risk before taking the next step, because that's what I smell here. And I hope you can take a jump out of the building without a parachute. Don't do it literally, but as a metaphor. Next question comes from Vikas at Twitter. Whether one must be bootstrapped or raise capital for expansion. If bootstrapped, then why? If raising capital, then why? Great question. Why you should raise capital is because the time and tide wait for none. Capital can help you to make more mistakes, withstand any type of cyclical nature of your business, withstand any type of, like, for example, any type of ups and down, and it can help you to actually increase your likelihood to dominate a category or an opportunity you identified. Why you should not raise capital is you lose control. There will be people who will be stakeholders. There will be all type of, there will be a pressure of exit, right? And there is someone beside you who will have a say in your business. Next question comes from Vishal Midha. I think, guys, this is our last question. I could go probably for next 2 hours, but love to interact with a lot more maybe in the next rendezvous, which we'll try to host very soon. So last question for today comes from Vishal Midha from Zoom. And the question is, I have had this question since long. What was the mindset behind listing a whole range of services and products on Zoom and not targeting a niche? Vishal, the way Zoom sells automobile, that is not how automobile has been sold for last 120 years. Even now, there are 5 to 6 comparable companies, right? New age companies, but they don't sell automobile and buy automobile the way we do. So during that time, we are original thinkers, we are innovators. Sorry, patting my own back, but we had to do a lot of experiments. We also had to do a lot of experiments. Then different stage, different time. We sold helmet. The idea behind was that can I get a customer trying us out when he's only spending 200 rupees versus 40,000 rupees for a motorcycle? We sold car perfume so that someone can try us out for 150 rupees and then think about, and then see, oh my God, this company also sells car. This company also sells planes, right? So we had a lot of services, but I can see the nature of your question. Yes, it did cause fair amount of distraction, sometime not good return, ROI, sometime loss-making proposition, but all those experiments help us to stay now laser focused. And right now, if you think about it, I would call those services very similar to popcorn, nacho, Coca-Cola, or pizza at a PVR, but you still go to PVR for movie. And then when they send you popcorn, Coca-Cola, and other products, those are the services, and they can make good money from that. Same way at Zoom, we do only one thing, which is buying and selling of new and used automobile. And services are now, we can sell some services independently because we are the only provider for those services, such as pricing, Orange Book value, or inspection and history. But remaining now going forward, we only try to sell when you're buying the automobile, very similar to PVR. So, but thank you for asking that question and thank you for your observation. And we are honing our focus so that we can achieve more, because our core product is so rewarding that once we can fully crack the code, we can perhaps create the largest consumer internet company coming out of India ever, because it's 8 to 12% of India's GDP. It's a $9 trillion globally. Less than 1% is online. And we have given last 7 years helping this category online. So I'm super, super excited, but loved your question. So guys, that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for joining. And I hope we covered your question. If you have a pending question, you can send an email to sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. We will try to host next session, maybe towards the end of next month. If you have any topic you would like us to cover rather than question, please do highlight that in our Twitter or Facebook comment. And we'll see nature of the topics you want to hear from us, and we'll try to cover that. In case you are looking to raise capital, I'm not a professional investor. I'm a tech entrepreneur first. I do some investing, helps me to give back, helps me to know many smart people, and very, very limited investment, but love to, you can send me a proposal or our deck, anything you can share, sandeep@sandeepagarwal.com. So guys, with that, we will end this session. Thank you for joining, and please be safe.